Hello everybody, this is Jack Leeson with MajorLeagueTrading.com coming at you with your analysis for the week of October 16th through the 20th. We'll be going over the major news events for the week as well as technical analysis in 4 separate markets. Starting on Monday at 8:30 p.m. coming out of the Australian dollar, we have the monetary policy meeting minutes. On Tuesday for the Great Britain pound at 4:30 a.m. we're going to have CPI, and at 6:15 a.m., and these are East Coast times, we're going to have Bank of England Governor Carney speaking. For Wednesday's news at 4:10 a.m., ECB Draghi will be speaking. At 4:30, we're going to have the average earnings index for the Great Britain pound. And at 8:30 a.m. for the US dollar, we will have building permits, followed up at 10:30 for crude oil inventories, which will obviously affect the oil markets. Then unemployment change in unemployment rate for the Australian dollar at 8:30 p.m. For Thursday at 4:30 a.m., Great Britain pound retail sales, and at 8:30 a.m. you are going to have the unemployment claims for the United States dollar. Friday, CPI and core retail sales for Canada, and then at 7:30 p.m. you're going to have Fed Chair Yellen speaking, but at that point in time the markets will be closed. Let's move into some technical analysis, and I'll talk about the markets I've chosen this week for setups. This is a chart of the USD CAD, the United States dollar versus Canadian dollar. What I'm looking for, there's 2 different levels. I have the major support I have here is a 123.95, and this 123.95 to 123.88 is these highs we had broken out of going back to September 27th. There is some Canadian news on Friday in the morning, so we could rotate into these levels and then pop higher. The current resistance level I have is at Friday's high, and that's a 125.15. It is also the 50% retracement short from the October 6th high drawn to the low of the 12th. So I'm going to be paying attention to a potential long setup at 123. 96, 95 area, and looking for potential short trades at the 125.15 for this week. Moving on to the Australian dollar, United States dollar, we had a big move Friday. It was a continuation of a breakout. We got through the highs. There was some news at 8:30 in the morning that sent this market higher. I'd like to see a pullback just to retest this level that we had broken out of. Right now, the support that I have is 78.62, and that is where I'm going to be looking for long setups in the Australian US dollar. You can see primarily up until really the month of September, the US dollar AUD USD has been rallying in 2017 coming out of the open of the year. We ended up consolidating, pulled back a little bit, and then really broke out a high. Similar pattern here. We had a nice rally up higher, consolidation, pulled back a little bit, and it now does look like we have overtaken the uptrend and can get all the way back up to at least the levels we had originally broken down from. This first swing low we had broken down from was 78.84, so that is a major resistance level I'm going to have above. We are above the previous swing high that we put in here on October 4th. This green candle is the October 4th candle daily on the daily chart. I would like to see a pullback into that level, which is at 78.62. That lines up with the highs here. Okay, you see these highs here from the 4th and the 5th, and I would expect that to hold. So I've set alerts at 78.65 just to be prepared when that market does come into those levels. So that's a trade I'm looking for in the Australian US dollar this week. Moving on to oil, I have CLX7 in here. Let me change it to CL. Actually, I'll just go X7. It's really the same chart. So /CLX7. What I'm looking at for the oil markets here is a pullback into 51.07 on the November contract for oil. We have rallied up. It is Sunday night here. The markets have opened, and we've rallied up into the previous area of resistance that we had broken down from. I do believe this swing high from September 28th ends up getting taken out. My higher time off-frame profit targets are 54.45, and what I would like to see is a pullback really into the high of this candle, this red candle that we had going back to the 12th on Wednesday. The low of that week to high. That 50% retracement is 51.07, or the low of Wednesday to the high of Friday, or the high of Sunday here is 51.07. So that is the support level I'm looking for oil to trade. Remember, we do have those oil inventories on Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. East Coast time. So if we're pulling back into those levels going into that time frame, I think that would be a perfect setup to break out higher for the rest of the week. It's a very similar setup to what we had. We had pulled back on the 12th, which was last week. The oil inventories were actually on Thursday. Typically they're on Wednesday. But because of, I believe it was Columbus Day, for whatever reason, they moved it back to Thursday. And we pulled back on that oil inventory report and rallied to close above at highs of the week. I'm looking for a similar situation. If we can pull back to those 51, call it 51.10, 51.07, and then rally into the rest of the week, that is a potential setup I'll be looking for in oil. Last but not least is a long trade I'm potentially looking for here in the gold markets. You can see we've held a series of higher highs and higher lows on the gold chart, and if I go out to the daily time frame, we had this massive consolidation that really lasted about 2 or 3 months until we ended up breaking out of that consolidation. That began in late August, and we've pulled back right to the middle of this consolidation zone. And if you look at the first rally here, this was a gap. This is going back to the 8th of August. We had gapped up, and that was the last swing low we really made before we began breaking out of the highs of 2017 towards the end of August. The low here that we have made on the 6th of October, which was about 2 weeks ago, that was a gap fill pretty much to the tick going back to that August gap that began our rally. And since hitting that level, we have seen sustained buying pressure in this market. We do have these swing highs above to be aware of. That would be 13.14 to 13.17. I think it's possible to get through those levels this week, but I would like to get a potential pullback here at 1299.8. So I'm going to go ahead and throw in an alert at 1299.8, as well as just one right above. And you can see these wicks here from the swing low of Friday. You can see there was some demand at those levels, and that's what I'm anticipating. So I'm going to try to be patient for a pullback. We can definitely continue to trade higher here, but I'm not a chaser. I'm a planner and a pullback buyer or seller depending on the direction of the trend. But that'll conclude this week's Nadex trade plan video. If you guys enjoyed this video content, please do me the great favor of going to my YouTube channel, Major League Trading, and subscribing, as well as liking this video. It really helps. And once again, thank you guys for your time here this evening. Everybody trade safe and have a great week. Take care.